on South
Thank
Coast
you,
Radio,
thank you,
Mondli.
Ryan.
Awesome. Glad to have
Yeah,
you
and
with us.
apologies for the network.
No, no, it's cool. It's cool. It's one of those things, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to quickly brief through the bio that we mentioned before about the movie called The Source, which is a story about gender-based violence, especially bullying suffering by Bulelani Zondi at the hands of his Tubelihle High School. Schoolmates Anele Ngobo and Clive Mbuso Shozi, they have consistently bullied and abused Bulelani on regular basis till they were caught by school principal Mr. Gumede, who then opted to call in two local police detectives, Mkize and Sabela, not to get them arrested but to find the source of them being bullies towards Bulelani. So, Mondli, with regards to our questions, the question I was asking you earlier as well. So, what drew you to this story, and what aspects of the source stood out to you as a producer?
All right, thanks, Ryan. So, what triggered me to produce this story was my friend, my good friend, who was the Kili, who's a social worker, who came to me with this idea that she applied for the S.C.R gender-based violence and femicide innovation. So we wanted us to partner to doing the project, but doing it concentrating on bullying side of gender-based violence. So we started there, and then we went to be facilitated by Ryan and Real. Ryan, Tanya, Stay, and Solo at Cape Town. We facilitated with other organizations from Eastern Cape, Nwanda Patova by Asonele, Leonard from Malanga, and others. So from there, learning other people's perspective of dealing with gender-based violence, and also coming with Vicky on doing with bullying. So it gave me so much ideas. So when I came back from Cape Town to Durban, I started writing the story and researching more, working also with people from schools, like learner support, and trying to get more info through them. And then I wrote this story, and not to expose the problem of bullying, but to find the source and deal with it. So for me, it was not to concentrate so much on the bullying side of things, but finding the solution of bullying. So that's why I call it the source. So yeah, that's what triggered me to write the story, to produce the story.
Great, Mondli. So why do you think bullying and gender-based violence are important themes to explore in film and television, and how do you think this story contributes to raising awareness?
Yeah. It's very important for such educational content to be consumed by people, especially young ones. Because there's a saying that to destroy a nation without war, make adultery and nudity common to the young generation, of which is common now. That's why we have a high rate of rape or cases of related to rape or teenage pregnancy. So I think with such educational content, not just raising awareness against bullying, there's so many other things with our social skills, of which I think that should be shown on our screens and made available to people to consume. Because art has a very great role. We're now mourning the passing of legendary writer or playwright Abel Foucault, who wrote so many stories back in the day, which helped us so much in being the South Africa we are today. So with the content of like gender-based violence being on our television and film, raising awareness, it will help a lot in dealing with it, because art plays a very important role in raising awareness and fighting social ills.
True. Great stuff, Mondli. So, how did you go about casting actors for roles like Bulelani, Anele, and Clive? And what qualities were you looking for in the actors who played these emotionally intense roles?
Yeah, so I'm also an acting coach, not just a director or casting director.
Mm-hmm.
I work with them, so and what made them to click and be able to play these roles? I work with them as their acting coach, teaching them how to act. And then Bulelani's character, who's played by Lindo Komede, is currently at school. So is Anele Ngogo, whose real name is Siandangwane, is also in school. And then Clive, who was played by Samgelo Ngusi, just matriculated. So they know what's happening in school. In terms of bullying, they know what goes around there. So for me to cast them was that they were currently at school, or they just recently left the school, and then I worked with them. So I know their abilities, I know their strengths, I know their weaknesses. As their acting coach, prior I casted them to the film. So they fitted that hand glove in terms of being able to play the character. And my policy I usually apply in casting people, I make sure that I cast people with a theatre background, because theatre is a matter of acting. So actors with a theatre background, they bound to give you their all. They bound to not just play the character, but to be the character, to make it believable, to the viewer. So that's the policy I usually do. I cast people, especially with the theatre background, whether they work with me or they work with other theatre directors or acting coaches.
That's a really wise choice you made as well when choosing your actors as well. That's great stuff, Mondli. And going into the next question, so bullying often stems from deeper societal issues. How did the production ensure that these factors, such as home environment and social status, were represented authentically?
Yeah, as I did say, I made my research, and then I found out the common things or usual things that causes bullying. So I concentrated on the home environment as this causes someone to become a bully, because at home, the home environment is toxic. It's toxic. Maybe that person is abused at home. So they are a victim at home. So they come to school to look for their victim. They become the perpetrator in school.
Yeah.
So I concentrated on the home environment as the source of it. There were so many other things that I found out during my research, but I said, let me concentrate on the home environment. Sometimes it doesn't often someone become a bully just because it is an orphan, maybe relatives, but even someone who has both parents, but often is a middle child, who's often not treated like equally. There's a favoritism amongst parents, so that's how someone also becomes a bully. It's because it's dying inside, there's some pain inside of him or her, so he goes out and look for his victim. So I looked at it at the home environment situation, but leaving a space of also socially in the future, because this film is going to be a continuous thing. There's so many other boxes to tick, but for now, on this first installment of it, to concentrate on the home environment and finding out the home environment of the source. That's finding out the source. That's what the home environment of which Clive and Anele came from, of which made them police. So that's where I focused on.
That's correct, Mondli. And also moving to the next question. So, what message do you hope audiences take away from the source? Is there a particular reaction or discussion you hope the film sparks?
Can you repeat the question again? I'm sorry, I didn't catch it.
Sorry?
Can you repeat the question?
Okay, so the question I mentioned before. So, what message do you hope audience take away from the source, the movie called The Source? And is there a particular reaction or discussion you hope the film sparks?
Oh, all right. Yeah. My hope is that people can, especially everyone involved, because gender-based violence, we all know it. Either you're a perpetrator, or you're a victim, or you know someone who's a perpetrator, or know someone who is a victim. So it's not to deal with the consequences of bullying, but to find the source of it.
Yes.
And dealing with it, because dealing with the problem is finding the source. So that's my aim of the story. It's finding the source of the problem and then dealing with it, so we can have a permanent solution. Because dealing with the problem and not dealing with the source of the problem is just a waste of time, because the problem will continuously happen. But that's what I want from people, to have those discussions. That's the aim of them, to have those discussions in whatever platform they use, that to deal with the problem of gender-based violence, you must find the source, to finding the source of the problem and dealing with it.
Great stuff, Mondli. And
In finding permanent solution.
that's great
Right?
stuff, Mondli. Awesome. So, our last question this moment we have. So, looking at the bigger picture, how do you think the film industry can contribute to addressing bullying and gender based violence? And what role do you see the movie playing in this larger conversation? Hi, Mondli.
All right, let me move a little. Yeah, yes, right.
Can you hear me? Hi, Mondli. Mondli, can you hear me?
Yes, right.
Okay, Mondli. So
Yeah. Repeat the question. I can hear you clearly now. Repeat
Okay,
the question.
perfect. So the last question that I have for you this moment, looking at the bigger picture, how do you think the film industry can contribute to addressing bullying and gender-based violence, and what role do you see the source playing in this larger conversation?
For me, what I can say is that the film industry can play a very important role, not just the source, but to also other films which are raising awareness about social ills affecting, giving it the platform, whether through their festivals or television platforms, big or small, but giving it exposure. It will play a very important role, because we know what art can do, or what art can have done. So that's my take on it, that the film industry, what they can do is to open the platform for such films to be shown to the public, or shown to everyone, and made a common thing that is shown to our screen, not because it's entertainment, not just entertainment, but entertainment is learning. There's something to learn or something to take out of it. So that's my take on it.
Awesome stuff, Mondli. So that being the wrap up for our questions, is there anything else you'd like to say? Maybe a shout out to the listeners out there.
right. No, I would like to send a shout out to everyone who took their time and tuned in, and they were patient with us to network. And to my cast and crew of the Source, shout out to Real, Tanya, Spey, Vicky, Leonard, Space, Liwe, Asonel, everyone, Mordecai, everyone who loves LNR and who supports LNR, and everyone who listens to South Coast Radio. Shout out to you. If I missed someone, I'm sorry, but yeah, thank you.
Awesome, and no need to apologize, Mondli. So, with that being said, thank you once again, and we still managed to get through with our session. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was Mondli Langelihle from LNR. We were chatting about the movie called The Source. So, I'm sure you guys have enjoyed that as well.
The radio station you can't live without. This is your radio.
This is South Coast Radio.